Hello, I'm Wayne Johnson with Doc and Queen Ministries. Just did a video a few minutes ago. Thought I was going to actually combine the two. But God being so good, the way God has worked today in my life, I just had to make them separate. But as I was going throughout the day, God worked on me on this very touchy subject, or at least I think it's touchy. But let me start out with Ephesians chapter 5, verse 28, and it reads, "And husbands should love their wives like that. They should love their wives as they love their own bodies. The man who loves his wife loves himself." So as I am riding about all throughout town today, I am just thinking and pondering and let God work on me. And one of the things he shared with me is and this is really mostly for husbands. God has given me what your wives need sexually.
Will you listen to me for a minute?
So what does your wife need sexually? Well, first let's go back, way back in time. So when we think about when we're growing up as young men, we basically, for the most part, and maybe this, I don't believe it is, but maybe this is just a black male thing. But we are taught to go out and try to conquer, quote unquote, I'm gonna use conquer as many females as possible. It's not the right thing to do. And a lot of times you don't learn this stuff until much later, or at least I did. So as I think about this, I let God work on me with this. And that's kind of the way I know I grew up, and I'm sure many of the fellas that I hung out with and grew up with and went to school with kind of thought the same way. And then even as we continue on, we wanted to be that quote unquote stud, great physically. We want to be the man, quote unquote, when it comes to performance, when it comes to sex. Well, as you get older, and I believe a lot of women earlier on are looking for that too, because none of us have really been taught well or right about this. But as they get older, and many times for us, we stay the same. Because if you ask a guy, for the most part, you ask every couple, husband and wives, who want to have sex the most, 9 times out of 10, or basically 9.5 out of 10, it's always us, the males. So we want it more. And the thing is, why is that? Well, we definitely are visual creatures as males. However, we can do the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. And for us, if we really like it, it's not boring. But a lot of times for the females, the ladies, they like to change things up. And I know I kind of spoke on this on an earlier video about how women get their hair done often, how women get their fingernails done often, how women wear different shoes often, all of that good stuff. Now guys, the new generation, and even some of us older generation, quote unquote, are sneakerheads, so they change up the sneakers a lot. But for the most part, we can do something that we enjoy over and over again. I can watch football every single Sunday. When I was younger, I could play basketball every day, and it was not boring at all. And for most men, when it comes to sex, we can do it or would want to do it every day. But as you grow older, we as husbands need to stop thinking about ourselves. And as I continue to learn on this journey and let God work with me, we must think less and less about ourselves and more about others. That's why God tells us about, love your neighbor as yourself. We got to get out of ourselves. That's why he tells us to let go of our cross and pick up his cross. We have to let go. And when it comes to the sex, we really need to think about what does our wife or quote unquote wives need. They need for us as husbands to think about what they need. Sex is more than just the physical part. And as they get older and we think that we've done something because quote unquote we physically think that we can put it down. But as we get older and as they get older, they also need more than just you being good physically. And everybody is different. Every couples are different. Some couples need it 5 times a week, whatever the case is. That's not really the point. The point is emotional, mental, spiritual, and it's not so much about you can perform from a physical standpoint. How can you touch her emotionally, spiritually, mentally? And many of us miss this. And as we grow older, and hopefully we'll learn this a lot at a younger age so we can be in tune, because not only I am trying to please her, and if I do that, I am focused on the thing that she needs the most, which possibly is the emotional standpoint. And then she can also in turn help me with what I need, so that physical and emotional and mental and spiritual, they all come in and combine. And then we're not so much thinking about all this is from a husband standpoint is bang, bang, bang. We have to understand that we have to take our time in every aspect when it comes to our wife. We have to prime that pump from the morning before so it is available later in the day. It's just like rain falling in a bucket. The first hour is not going to fill that bucket, especially if that bucket is big. But by the time that end of the day happens, it's going to fill up. And then not only, because we definitely, men are physical, so it doesn't take much for us to be ready to go. But women need a little bit more. They need a more build up. And if we start early, we do our part. See, we just want them to do their part because we were so much into our own self. But if we build them up earlier and just throughout the day lead them to it, and even if nothing happens at the end of the day, we at least have least went at them from their standpoint, their emotional standpoint, their mental standpoint, their spiritual standpoint, that the next time or whenever it happens, it's going to be right for all of us. We just have to be less selfish, remove our ego, and think about our partners. Just like it says, the man who loves his own body loves his wife. The man who loves his wife loves himself. So we have to not only love ourselves, but we have to love our wife. And in loving our wife, we also love ourselves. We have to build that up as opposed to just give me the basketball and let's play. No, when it comes to our wives, we have to quote unquote build the blocks up. And then at the end of the day, if it's available, and we can't even always look for that to be the end result. We got to stop thinking just about me, myself, and I.
Donald, stop being so selfish.
I tell you, this has just been something that just has hit me hard as I am driving throughout the day. The Lord works through us. And I tell you, they say he works in a mysterious way. Well, it's mysterious to us. And it's just a awesome feeling to be able to start hearing and listening to God as he's delivered to make us better. Then on top of that, it's not just about the husband and the wife. Our sexual relationship has to also be pleasing to God. So you have to understand that God sees everything. So as you are working, you don't want to be to the point where you are selfish. She's not selfish, you're not selfish, because ultimately the Lord is also a part of y'all's intimacy. Okay, before I close out, for some reason, as I'm listening and hearing from God on this subject, why the song Chucky Booker, Games, come to my mind. And I say it to myself, now look, I'm not no singer. I'm just telling you. But the verse, would you be with me if I had nothing? No, she wouldn't be. Now she may start out with you if you had nothing. But as she grows in, she's not gonna be with you if you had nothing. He said, if I had nothing, if I couldn't buy you something. No, she's not going to be with you. If you can't buy her nothing, if you can't buy her something and you have nothing, she's not going to be with you. Then, just like I understand, and I am so glad I am making it to this point, he said, I worked hard to get the things I have. He said, oh, I worked hard to get the things you need. I just so glad that I've been working hard and God has truly blessed me. But I'm telling you, husbands, we have a job to do. See, we always thought that she has to submit to me and we got the power position. But I'm telling you, that power position comes with its real demands. We got to put in work. And not only that, we got to think about them and their feelings, but not only their feelings, we also got to be led by God and make all those things work. See, we first want to put ourselves first, and that's kind of how guys are about sex. We want to put it about us, what we want first. But if we start realizing it, we actually are last in that process. It's about God first and doing the things that God sees as acceptable. Then you got to think about your wife. And with that, that's a long process because you probably got to start prepping that from the beginning. It's the practice, it's the dressing room, it's the announcing the starters, it's taking off your warm-ups, and then the jump ball, then it's the game. If there's a game. Because with this, it could be more like baseball, where if it rains, it gets rain out, and you got to wait till the next thing. And then you are last. So it's got to be about God first, your wife second, and you third. So we got the hardest part of this, and we probably want this more. But understand, we have a job to do. I hope this has helped. I hope this is going to bring your relationship to the point where it completes it, at least on the sexual spectrum. I just hope that everything works out well for you. God bless, take care, and good night.